Hi everyone, Chris Yoke from Yoke Pen Company again. Today what I thought I would do would be some production oblique holder reviews. Basically what you see in front of you here, this is pretty much every oblique pen that you can buy that are store-bought, mass-produced type situations. Some of them being handmade but still mass-produced. And what I thought I would do would be take you through them all, and the features, the ups, the downs, and also let you see them, you know, all up close, since it's very hard to actually touch and hold each one, because they're only available in a couple places online. Unless you're lucky enough to live in one of the areas where, you know, places like Scribblers or Paper and Ink Arts or John Neal is, you're never actually going to be able to sit down and hold them all at once, most likely. So I thought I'd go through each one, give my opinions on them, and then at the end I'll kind of give you my suggestions for everything as well. And the way I'll be doing it is going through the order in which, if you've not ever seen it, on my links page on my website I have this chart where I give all the specs, dimensions, features, and I also just updated it because there's a few new holders from John Neal that I got in a couple weeks ago, and I've been meaning to do this. So we'll go in the order of this list, which you can download from my website if you want to pause this and download it real quick so you can compare them all. Okay, I'm going to clear out a little bit of room here first so we're not just looking at a big mass of pen holders. The first one, I'm not going to give a, I'm going to zoom in here, I'm not going to give a big opinion on this. The reason is it's one I produce. I'm kind of biased on it. So this is available from Scribblers. It's called their Classic Oblique. Its shape is based on a Cenarian Excelsior pen holder with tiny bit bigger grip area for what's popular for most people. The flange is nickel silver. It's made out of quarter sawn oak. It's hand turned. It's pin and epoxied flange, so it's never going to move. That's the facts of it. I like it, but again, I'm biased. So moving on to the next one. The next one is the Paper and Ink Arts adjustable hourglass. This is by far my favorite production holder. If you're going to spend a little bit of money, this is what I recommend. They're $42.50. They're back ordered a lot, but if you just place the order, they get fulfilled rather quickly. It's not as bad as you would think. Place it on order and have it back ordered. What I like about it is it's made out of, I believe this is diamond wood, I'm pretty sure. I've looked at it several times. Diamond wood is basically a resin encased wood. The flange is pinned into place so it won't come loose. It also has the bullock style flange, which the bullock, if you look at it, just use another pen here to show you. In the center there's an area for a crow quill. Between that area of the crow quill and the standard nib flange you can put a smaller nib, say like a Spencerian #1 will fit in there well, and then you have the other above for any standard nibs. And all it takes to adjust this thing is simply having a screwdriver ready for your video. You loosen this screw. Once you do, it will open up. You can see. You slide your nib in and you just tighten the screw until the nib doesn't want to move in and out. And it will fit a broad variety of nibs. That's why I recommend it for beginners, because you're learning all kinds, you're learning what nibs you like, you're learning your preferences. The size is the most popular grip with a 3/8 and by 1/2 inch grip. That's by far the most popular grip I make, the most requested I have. The last thing, and it's Let's see if you can see it here. There is a slight cant upward to it, and the reason for that is when you get an oblique, the first thing you're going to do most likely is you're going to tip it up so the nib doesn't catch on paper. Well, this is already at a start there, so out of the box it's going to work pretty well. You know, you just adjust it to your preference. So very good pen holder. Next is the Paper and Ink Arts adjustable oblique, which is basically the same end as that other one, same material. The only difference is it's a straight pen staff. It's great. I'm not personally a fond of the straight staff, but it's a matter of comfort, and that's again a personal taste. Pretty much the same thing as this adjustable hourglass, just the shape of the handle's a little bit different. Next, we have the Speedball Oblique. Everybody knows this thing. Plastic, cheap, $2, and it's yours. It's available everywhere. If you have no other option in budget, it works because one, it'll fit almost any nib. It just slides in there and there's adjustment. Now the only thing you don't have adjustment of is the inward cant, where your nib goes in, or upward, sorry. Inward you do by turning the nib. Upward you don't. The one thing that I always suggest this for is a lefty. If a lefty is considering oblique and wondering if it's going to work for them, this is their way to test and even see if they enjoy it. It works for their grip. It costs $2 US, and if it doesn't work, you're not out anything. It will work if that's all your budget will allow, but I suggest one without, that's not all plastic, one with a metal flange. Okay, next we have the Peerless. Peerless is a plastic handle, metal nib flange, brass that's pinned. It's inexpensive at $12.95. Much better than the Speedball. It's basically the Speedball handle, only with brass on it, size wise. If you've got a few extra dollars, this is what I'd recommend for a beginner. It's going to get you in there. It's going to be plastic, so it's not going to be warm feeling. Plastic's kind of cold feeling to the hand, but it's a comfortable, a little bit smaller size, but works well. Next, we have the Peerless Deluxe, or the pretty blue and red one. I don't recommend this. This is actually one of my least recommended pens. The reason is it looks pretty, but as you can see from this one, that rubber is peeling off. The rubber is becoming sticky. This has never even been used. All it does is sit in a drawer, and you can see it's already falling apart, getting sticky from humidity, from oils, just from being handled a couple times. It peels apart. It's not worth the money. I would never buy it. And for $3 more than this, and this is going to, sorry, I'm out of the screen. $3 more than the black one, you're getting something that's going to fall apart. So my suggestion is stay far away from this as possible. Okay, next we're into the turn of the centuries. Let's zoom out a little bit here. Turn of the centuries are great holders. They're handmade. The problem right now is they're not available, and we don't know when they will be available again. The guy that makes them is just not going to be able to produce them for a while. So that's going to limit the availability of them, period. On the left is the 5/8. On the right is the standard. They're turned holders. They're wood, brass flange, Zenarian mounting method. These I've taken the shims out, but they're shimmed, so you can take the flanges out and replace them if you wanted to. That's not my favorite design, but it does work. I prefer a sealed end because the end grain of wood can absorb water and acts as a wick. So, but great pen holders. The turn of the century and the 5/8 are $19.95 when they are available. Next we have the Ziller. Ziller is a plastic, non-replaceable metal flange molded into the plastic. It's got an octagonal shape to the barrel of the pen. It's for the money. It's an average price of $13.25 or so. Available. Oh, that's one thing I didn't cover. This one's available at Paper and Ink Arts and also John Neal Bookseller. We're going to step back one second. Turn of the Centuries available at Paper and Ink Arts and John Neal Bookseller. Deluxe Speedball, same thing. Paper and Ink Arts, John Neal. Sorry for the out of frame. Same thing with the Peerless. Speedball is plastic. It's available at Paper and Ink Arts, John Neal, and also Scribblers. And then the two Paper and Ink Arts are available at Paper and Ink Arts, of course. Sorry about that. Okay, back to the Ziller. Ziller's just a plastic, little skinny, itty bitty skinny. Comparing it to a Turn of the Century, which is already a thin holder. It's really small. Comparing it to a 5/8 Turn of the Century, which I don't know why it's 5/8 Turn of the Century, because it's actually 9/16, but whatever. It's a very thin holder. Plastic, cheap, inexpensive, does work. Next, we have the Zenarian Rosewood, available in a 8-inch. Is that how long it is? Bear with me one second. Available in 8 1/4 or 5 3/4 inch. Again, all wood, turned by hand. Replaceable Zenarian mounting to the flange, so it's shimmed. Again, these were shimmed. I took the shims out because I play with them all the time. Both great pens, no complaints. A little bit more expensive at the $35 price range or so, but they're also much thinner, a little bit lighter than the rest because of the thinness of them. Again, a nice pen holder. The Carrot, very large compared to, we'll go to extremes here. Turn of the Century 5/8 Ziller Carrot. Much bigger grip, Zenarian flange mounting system. Great if you have arthritic conditions, hand conditions. Gives you a little bit bigger grip. Some people that have the death grip, this will help alleviate it slightly. And I only say slightly because it's harder to grip something very thick, firm. Something little is easier to grab very firm. The only thing that will cure the death grip, of course, is lightening up your grip. But temporary solution, and also helpful for some people's hands, and some people just prefer the bigger size. So again, solid wood, Zenarian flange mounting. Alright, next we're going to get into the Blackwells. Alright, on the left is the Blackwell wood, on the right is the Blackwell plastic. I'm not real fond of these, and there's a reason for it, but the reason can be avoided. My issue with these is because of the design of the screw. What this does is basically allows you to fit many different nibs by use of the screw. You loosen the screw, slide the nib in to where you need it. I'm not going to align it with center or anything, I'm just going to show you. And then tighten the screw. The problem with this is if you take a screwdriver and you turn this screw too tight, it deforms the nib. It will squeeze it in, which causes your nib tines to misalign, and and then it won't write. To me, it's just not worth it because of the fact that it can mess up. It's not good for beginners, in my opinion. And then like the wood one, this is a big old chunk of brass on the end, so it's not real balanced, in my opinion. It's very front heavy, and you don't typically want a front heavy pen. You want it to balance in your hand and feel lightweight, and this does not do it. Couple that with the design of the way it holds nibs, I'm just not a fan. If you use it and you're careful with the screw, then it'll never hurt the nib, but you got to know what you're doing first. So it works great if you want it to work great and you know how to use it. If you don't, it can make your lettering difficult. The plastic is better, in my opinion. It's better balanced. Same flange on it, so again, you have to be very, very careful on how tight you tighten the screw so you don't A, ruin a flange, or B, make writing so difficult you'll throw your pen across the room. Does what it's supposed to, though, by holding different nibs in place, of different nib sizes without having to adjust. But adjusting brass is so simple, there's no real reason for that, if you ask me. So again, Blackwell's pricing: Blackwell wood's $40, Blackwell plastic is $29.50 or $30, available only at John Neal. Okay, next we have, these are new, just came out, turned wood from John Neal. Turned wood holders are I don't think handmade. I don't know that for a fact, and the reason I say that is the fact that they are so exactly precise to each other that I don't see how a human could do it. Could be wrong, but most likely it's set up on an auto lathe or something, which there's nothing wrong with that. That keeps the price low, and they're solid wood. Zenarian mounting. My first qualm with these is there's no shim in it. It comes like this. The flange, it's in there pretty good, but over time it will loosen. So if you get one of these, you need to put a toothpick in there and shim this flange, and it's simply a matter of sliding a toothpick in and breaking it off flush, cutting it off flush. It's not the greatest thing not to have these secured because they will loosen up over time. Okay, we'll start with this one. This one's the ornamental. It's made out of random wood. This one looks to be cocobolo, solid wood, brass metal flange, Zenarian mounting method again. Looks to be like a friction polish finish, which is basically just a shellac and wax mixture that's rubbed on in heat. Nothing wrong with that. It keeps costs down low, but it will dull over time, so it won't remain shiny and pretty looking. Well, not pretty, but it won't remain super shiny looking. That is the ornamental. Has little decorative things on the end. Next is the tapered. Ornament. These are all available just at John Neal. The ornamental is $17.95. Next is the tapered at the same price of $17.95. Again, out of a random wood. This one looks to be like Macassar ebony or something. Not a high-grade ebony, but it's a very, very dark wood, and it's very heavy. So I'm assuming that that's ebony. Not saying they come like that every time, but again, a little bit heavier in weight because of the wood it is, but they come in random woods. Metal flange, Zenarian mounting method, wood holder. That's about it. Next, this is the ebony. Sorry for getting out of frame. Ebony has the same shape as the ornamental, only it's made out of ebony. Again, much heavier. Same thing, solid wood. My qualm with this one, it makes a little bit, was the fact that I can't really complain because the price is so low, but there's big chunks and stuff out of it. That was my first indication of being machine made when I saw them, because it looks like, you know, they were turned on by a machine and may have missed a little bit, took a little chunk out. But wood holder, basic, brass, Zenarian mounting, available at John Neal. This one, because it's ebony, is $20.95. So a few more dollars for if you like a little bit more weight to the pen. Last one is the turned wood oblique Zenarian style. Again, John Neal bookseller, priced at $20.95. I assume that, I don't know why that price is different, because I can't see the work in it, but again, this looks to be like Cocobolo, comes in a random wood, Zenarian mounting flange. So that's it. That's their new holders in wood. They're, for a budget price, they're fine. Last one is the, they call it the adjusted oblique plastic holder with metal flange from John Neal bookseller. This is same shape, same size as the rest of these. These are all like 7/16 by 3/8 grip area, which is a little bit smaller holder, but very, very common size for the most part. Not the most popular size, but similar to like the Zenarians you could get for a long time from both John Neal and PIA. You can still get them, they're just out of stock every once in a while. This one's plastic. It's a plastic Zenarian mounted flange, which is very different. I've never seen that in a pen before. So the flange does come out, and it does come adjusted in your choice. This is a blue dot, so I assume I would ordered it probably with a principal. I don't recall off the top of my head. Got an itty bitty little bead type deal on the end, but this one is $12.50, and from their website they said this is going to replace the Peerless, so I assume that they're going to be phasing out the Peerless. I don't know that for a fact, so check with them if you're curious. It just says replaces the Peerless, and that is it. That is all of the holders currently available from stores. All a little bit different. My spec sheet gives all of these differences on that spec sheet from my web page. It's called the Production Oblique Reference. I have it available in both imperial and metric formats. There they all are again. It's a lot more options than we used to have. Add in the fact that it seems like every time I look at my computer screen there's someone else making pen holders. It's getting to be, there's a broad variety of choices out there, but these are all great choices. Again, my personal is this hourglass, the shape, the wood. It's a nice polished finish. It's usable with many different nibs without a chance of damaging it. Great for beginners if you can swing the 4250 for it. Is that right? 4250 for it. That's my personal choice. That's what I recommend to everybody. If I was going to recommend another, it used to be the turn of the century. If you can find one, that's great. Peerless is plastic version. Zenarians, I'm a preference to wood. It's just me. There's nothing wrong with a plastic holder. I just like the wood. I like the warmth of wood. Plastic feels very cold in your hands. So there you have it. That's all of the production nib holders available and my little take on them. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact me at Yoke Pen. yokepen@gmail.com. My website's www.yokepencompany.com. Thank you.